Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the R.E.A.L Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shae Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the R.E.A.L Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the R.E.A.L Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of R.E.A.L Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote. And today's quote is, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." That's by Oscar Wilde. So today we have Shalle Wolff with Real Estate Solutions team in Norfolk, Nebraska. She has been a realtor for 7.5 years now. She shares a unique journey in discovering real estate later in life. Shalle loves being a part of helping sellers and buyers make one of the biggest life-changing decisions of their life. Beyond real estate, Shalle highlights the significance of being true to yourself, along with community involvement, also including fostering puppies, which I'm really excited to get into about that. So join us for an insightful conversation with a realtor committed to making every house feel like a home. Welcome to the show, Shalle.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. We had a little bit of a technology fails this morning, but we are here and we are alive, excited, and full of energy. So, Shalle, tell me a little bit about what got you into real estate. You said that you found this career later in life. What were you doing before that?
Right. So I have actually about 25 years of experience in nonprofit work with fundraising and managing nonprofits. And then I've also done retail management. So that is more my background, working with donors and with other nonprofit organizations and coordinating special events and things along that line is where my experience was before.
That's amazing. So tell me about your real estate story. What is your real estate story?
So, so I had actually over the years, probably about 5 different times, I had people approach me and say, you should consider doing real estate because you'd be really good at it. And I always told them no, because that whole straight commission thing really scared me off. It was a scary thing, especially when I had younger kids at home. You kind of depend on that steady income. And then I had just gotten to a point, I was burned out working in nonprofit. It's hard work. And for a lot of times for little thanks. So I was kind of burnt out in that. And I had tried something else for about a year and wasn't enjoying that. So actually had decided to take just a little bit of time off from what I considered like high pressure employment, and just did a couple part-time jobs for a while. And one of those part-time jobs was working as an assistant for one of the realtors here in town. And through working with her, I was like, oh, this is really fun and amazing and rewarding. Just what little piece I got to see of it, just being her assistant there in the office. Mm-hmm. And that really got me to thinking, maybe all of those times that I was asked to consider it, I should have. And then I was also I was of the age where I was looking for something. I want this to be my last change in my profession, because, we're looking forward to retirement and later years. So I was looking for something that I would be able to do that with also.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then you took the test, took classes, and passed right away, or what was that experience like?
I did. I did the online classes.
Mhm.
And then I actually tested up in Omaha. A lot of people tested in Lincoln, but I tested down in Omaha. And
Mhm.
I did manage to pass the first time.
That's awesome.
So the funny thing about the day I went, because I drove up by myself, had my little study cards, cheat cards, doing probably worse than texting and driving, but studying on the way up. I remember doing that. 43,560. Can you tell me what that is?
Oh yeah, the
Trying to
square
remember
footage of an acre. Yep.
square footage of an acre. And then I remember taking the test and getting through it and going back through everything again. And then coming out, and the gal up front had already had my results. I come out up front and she's like, "Well, congratulations." And I just kind of looked at her and I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Well, I have your results. You passed." I said, "Really? Both sections?" She goes, "Yeah, congratulations. You have your license."
Did you hug
So
her?
when I wanted to, yeah. I was just so flabbergasted because everybody had warned you, don't plan on passing the first time,
Yes.
you
I
know?
don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I get out to the car and you don't realize how heavy it weighs on you until
Mhm.
you've achieved it. I got
Yeah.
out to the car and like my whole body just started shaking.
Shaking.
It was
Yeah.
just it was just such a relief because it's also a huge leap, especially later in life. It's a huge leap, and a commitment to do it. And I just remember I've never had that happen to me before, but it was like everything just released and my whole body just started shaking.
Yeah.
So I couldn't leave the parking lot right away, to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. When you got back into your vehicle, like it was just like weight lifted off of your shoulder, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was just huge, huge. And then I called a couple people, of course, my husband, and let him know. And I called because I had already committed to a broker, so I called my broker and let her know. And yeah, then as soon as my body stopped shaking and I was able to drive, I was headed back home.
I hugged the lady and I looked at her. I was like, I'm so sorry. Do people do that? And she goes, well, not very often, but it's exciting. I'm like, okay, good, because I just hugged you.
Yep, that's funny.
It is. It is. Okay, so now tell me a little bit more about your journey as a realtor then. So you've been in the business for 7.5 years. You don't have kids in the house at this time, correct?
Right. The
When you
kids are
when
grown.
you got into it.
Right. When I got out, the kids were already grown. We were already at grandparent stage. So that worry that I had had as a younger adult was off my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose probably made it a little bit easier to take that leap and to do because all of the work because it's a lot of hard work to get started. Just because a lot of people doesn't mean they're going to buy or sell a house, and it doesn't mean they're going to buy or sell it with you.
And
So
I'm glad you bring that up because honestly, like I always tell people, it's converting your sphere, especially when you first get into it, is the hardest people to convert because they don't know you as the professional realtor. They know you as the nonprofit organization lady, or, I was a case manager in Norfolk for mentally ill adults. I mean, that's what they knew me as,
yep,
you
yeah,
know?
it's amazing that even the family members who are like, "Oh, I didn't even think to call you." It's like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. No, but that's a good point though too, because we can't if somebody else uses somebody else, we can't fault them for that because it's like, okay, well, what did I do or what did I not do? Was I not staying top of mind? Have I not showed them that I am the professional? But it can hurt. And I think that's a good insight that we just need to stay top of mind, not only for our past clients, but our entire sphere, friends, family,
Right.
everybody. Like we want them to know we are agents.
Right. Yeah. And we want them to not forget it. So
Mm-hmm.
it may sound like we're constantly like bragging on ourselves or talking about what we do, but we've learned that we have to,
Yeah.
just to keep that top of mind,
Yeah.
like you had talked about. So, and then, on the other hand, sometimes it's a good thing when family or friend doesn't think of you because it's also can be a little bit tougher transaction when you've got that personal relationship as
Mm-hmm.
well. So it's a fine balancing act.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not taking offense to it. But yeah, sometimes it's a blessing in disguise.
Right.
It really is. So tell me a little bit more, like even the challenges of being a grandma and a realtor. I mean, have you ever had to kind of, are your grandkids in the area?
Yeah, two of them are here in Norfolk, and three of them are down in Lincoln.
Okay.
Um, So the big challenge is finding time to see the family that's in Lincoln. Because you would think, oh, it's only 2 hours away, but stop and think, we work a lot of weekends,
Mhm.
and when you've got a showing at 2 in the afternoon, by the time you're done with that showing, it's a little late to head down to Lincoln for the
Mhm.
day. So yeah, it's really we have to be very purposeful in crossing out a weekend or a Saturday or a Sunday and saying this is when we're going. So, because they are only 2 hours away, but it still makes it difficult. And
Mhm.
then even for the ones here locally, if I don't, if we don't have enough advance notice of the kids' activities, I may a lot of times already have something, somebody will call, schedule a showing or do something. So it's scheduling is very important. Scheduling in
Mhm.
advance.
Yeah. So tell me, so was that kind of a learning curve for you? Did you have to, like you said, be purposeful or intentional? And I always tell people like family time is also an appointment. You don't need to tell your clients that you are going to spend time with the family. You can say, I have an appointment at that time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because it's kind of interesting, but people understand the I already have an appointment conversation better than I'm planning to spend time with my kids or grandkids because I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know. Do you find that?
Absolutely. I had like I think it took me maybe the first year to catch on to that because I was always of the mindset, well, I'm just talking to another person. Surely they're going to understand. But when you say, well, I've got grandchild's birthday party at 3 o'clock, well, could we look at it at 2:30 before you go? Well, no, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting myself ready to go to the birthday party. So I have learned to do exactly what you had talked about is my schedule's already full or my schedule's already committed. I've already got another event at that time. So how about this time? I've also learned to suggest another time instead of just cutting them off on the
Mm-hmm.
time that they're asking for. But absolutely, I don't unless it's a client I've gotten to know really well, or it's a client that's also a friend. It's definitely not a personal thing. It's my schedule's already committed at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's just a great way to kind of, I guess, in my opinion, balance your personal and business life because your family time is honestly an appointment. And we find ourselves, and I still do to this day, that if I am in a meeting, let's say like this podcast here, I have all notifications shut off, I have my phone shut off, everything. Why can't we do the same for our family in the evenings or when we're with them? That quality time. It's not always about the quantity, but the quality time that you spend is so important when it comes to your family. So my husband made that comment because I was in a meeting for a couple hours not too long ago and he was trying to get a hold of me. I don't remember what the reasoning was, but later that night we get home and I'm still on my phone trying to have a conversation. He goes, "Kids, why don't you tell mom to, make us an appointment like she did earlier today?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's true." You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
but it's real. It's true. Like you need to be able to put that time down for your family and your husband, I'm sure too.
Absolutely. Yep. And in the long run, I think it makes us a better realtor for our clients because if we're mad at ourselves because we had to miss a birthday party or we're missing the wrestling meet or we're missing the baseball game, that's what we're focused on when we're trying to help you make the decision of
Mhm.
which home is the one for you. So taking care of ourselves is also in a way taking care of our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. I love that. And that kind of goes back to one of your what you had discussed is that um being true to yourself. You had said something about being true to yourself and how important it is. And so can you elaborate more on that?
Right. I kind of laugh. I've told a few people lately, I've gotten to the age where if you ask me my opinion, you're going to get it.
That's
Kind of that.
awesome.
Yeah, I've learned over the years that it doesn't benefit me and it doesn't benefit you as my client for me to pretend to be somebody that I'm not.
Mhm.
So when you're working with me, what you see is what you get. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm somebody I'm not because at some point that facade's going to come down and then there's going to be a change in the relationship that may or may not be good. So you just need to establish that relationship from the beginning as to who you truly are as a person and to be true to yourself as a person.
Yeah. And I think when people realize that you are also human and you also make mistakes and that you are not perfect, they can relate to you a lot better.
Absolutely. Yep. There's been a few times like, oh, I didn't see that. And I didn't think of that. I messed that up. Let me fix
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But honestly,
Yep.
the biggest thing, people are okay with that. People are okay with mistakes as long as one, you own up to it, and two, you figure out a solution to the problem.
Yep. Yep. A lot of times I'll even have that solution before I call them. Well, okay, so this happened, but this is what we are going to do.
That's exactly right. And I love that because I always make sure too, like we're gonna have problems. And sometimes it might take me a day or two to find a solution. So sometimes I feel bad because like I already know about the problem, but I don't tell them about it until later because I'm coming
Right.
up with a solution. And I love
Right.
that you do that too, because so many agents just get like frantic and worked up and then that worries your client. So do you have an example that you can think of that would be like where something like that came up? I
Oh
feel like
man.
that's a yes.
Oh man. Well, there's been several,
Yeah.
but the first one that comes to mind is a couple years ago I helped my brother and his fiance purchase an acreage.
Okay.
Um and the agent on the other side was in my office, which helped make everything that happened a little bit better. But it almost fell apart and came back together 3 different times. All 3 times he didn't know about it until it was coming back together. The one time, the one that really that we didn't think we were going to recover from was the seller had reached out to one of those companies that tells you they can consolidate your credit card debt for you and pay off all your debt for you. So she thought she was doing a good thing. So she signed up with them. Well, come to find out what this company does is they just stop paying all of your payments until you go into arrears and it goes to collections and then they start negotiating.
Oh,
So when they did that final pull for her loan on her credit report and everything, her credit had dropped tremendously. And so her lender was like, no, your loan is no longer good. My brother had already sold his home down in Lincoln and was living with a friend so that he could, because his fiance lived here in Norfolk, so they were looking for a place in the middle. And we already had her house listed. So yeah, he didn't know about it till it was all done. And he didn't know the
really?
details. He didn't know the details. He didn't know any of the details until about 6 months after we closed. And he was already moved in and we were at a family thing. And he said something. And I said, well, let me tell you what happened that last time that it almost fell apart.
Yeah.
So, but what we did, we scrambled. And like I said, so this also leads to the importance, whether that other agent, that other realtor is in your office or not, you've got to have good relationships with the other realtors
Yeah.
because it took both of us to pull it, to keep it together that
Mhm.
time. And we have a lender, a mortgage broker that we work with quite a bit that we trust with our lives, and he
Mhm.
saved it. Basically, without him, that transaction would not have happened, and my brother would have been homeless.
Oh my
So
gosh.
all kinds of lessons that we've talked about in that one story.
Yeah.
So I've often heard, and I don't know if you've heard this saying, but someone else told me, and it wasn't in real estate that I heard it first, but it really applies in real estate where the realtors are like comparable to a duck when they're in the water. So up above the water, they're nice and calm and gliding along smoothly, and
Oh my
below the
gosh.
water, their legs are furiously moving to keep going and stay afloat.
I love that
And
analogy.
so, yeah, so that's definitely applies to being a realtor because you don't want your client to know what there's a fire that you're putting out until
Mhm.
you've got the extinguisher ready to spray on it.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that that's so true. So many people just see hiring a realtor as this big commission check, and it's not. There's so many people who I mean, they don't realize how much an agent does on the back end at all,
right.
you know?
Nope.
And it's just crazy because, yeah, like you said, I like the analogy of the duck because just because things went super smooth doesn't mean it actually went super smooth.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Like I said, on that one, he didn't know. And that was the third time that it almost fell apart. And I didn't even tell him until after closing
Oh my
what had happened.
gosh.
I told him at one point, I called him and told him and said, well, we're going to have to back closing up a couple days because we got to switch lenders. We had an issue with the lender. So we
For
got
the
to switch
seller.
for the seller. Yep. So, and that was about all he knew until after closing. And I said, well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you how it really went.
Yeah. Let me tell you what was going on, because you almost didn't get your acreage. So.
Jeez, that's amazing. But yeah, no, that's a prime example on how much an agent really does. Because it's not just because they have to worry about everything else on the back end. They're worrying about moving and packing and doing all of that. So if you can
Right.
alleviate the stress of actually selling and buying the home, that alone right there alleviate, is worth the money. Plus all these other things that an agent can do to step in and rectify any issues that come up.
Right. Right. And it's sometimes it can be the most frustrating part of the job, and the most rewarding part of the job, to be able to work through those and be able to fix that for the people you're working with.
Yeah. But I bet when you got to closing, you were like, I earned every penny.
Every penny. Every penny.
And some.
And some. And there may have been an adult beverage or two that night. Not
Absolutely.
gonna lie.
Yes. It's called celebration. Absolutely. There's so much. So tell me a little bit. Okay. So have you ever had to bring like your grandkids with you to any appointments? Have you ever had to do that?
I think once or twice on a showing, and they've like to help put out signs
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. They've helped do
Yeah.
that, and they did have to come to a showing or two. During COVID, they spent a lot of time here, because my daughter was still an essential worker position, and they didn't have school. So they spent a lot of time here during COVID. So they got in on a lot of just the behind the scenes stuff too, the phone calls and everything that goes on behind. But for the showings, yeah, sitting in the living room on the couch with our tablets and making sure that we don't touch anything. We don't,
Oh,
no fighting, no wrestling, no bad words. No.
yes. Just
Yep.
put on a fake facade like we talked
Yep.
about. Put that fake facade on and go.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit about these puppies. You do a lot of fostering with puppies. I want to know more about that.
I do. With Animal Shelter of Northeast Nebraska here in Norfolk. I actually just picked up my 5th litter yesterday from them and got them all settled in. So we've got 6 puppies and mama here. I've got 4 boys and 2 girls. So we're not sure what breed they are yet. The shelter did a DNA test on one of the puppies.
Okay.
So when that comes back, they were told mom's a Jack Russell mix, but she's got a lot of boxer characteristics in her face. She's got the little overbite, and the kind of the ears look like boxer. So I will not be surprised if the puppies come back with boxer in them. Boxer. Yeah, but this is my 5th. So, and I kind of got started by accident. Kind of one of those moments when you open your mouth and you say what you're feeling without thinking about what.
Yeah.
But so they had gotten in a few years ago. They had flown in some dogs from Texas, I think. And one of them was a little Chihuahua mix that was pregnant. Well, she had the puppies like within hours of making it to the shelter.
Oh my gosh.
Looking back now, we're thinking the flight probably put her in labor, because we're thinking the puppies were born early. But she was I happened to stop in that day. I typically do a weekly adoptable spotlight video. The holidays this year kind of threw me off schedule, but I typically do a video. So I think I had stopped in that day to do my video, and she was there, and she just tugged at my heartstrings. She was terrified. And she was curled around these 6 little puppies, like protecting them, but terrified herself and just shaking. And I just looked at the shelter manager and said, if you need any help with her, just let me know. I don't even know where it came from. It just came. So she called me like 2 days later, and she was like, were you serious?
Like, I'm going to take you up on that.
Yeah, because if you were, I'm going to take you up on it. That's exactly what she said. She goes, because she's just so terrified here, and we don't feel that the puppies are feeling that, she goes, the puppies aren't thriving because they're terrified. Now, it actually ended up being kind of a sad story. We actually ended up losing all but one of the puppies. They had pneumonia. So we're thinking what happened is a kind of a combination of things. We have no proof. This is just kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah.
We're thinking maybe she went into premature labor because of the flight. So they might have been a little premature. And we're thinking that maybe she was not well, that she was ill. And so through nursing, she transmitted that to the puppies. So, but I had to, that one surviving little pup, he had the pneumonia also, but he didn't get it as bad as the rest of them. And he was a little bit bigger than the rest of them. He needed steam treatments, because they get all congested, just like a baby does. So I tried the whole sitting in the bathroom with the shower running on hot water thing, but it just wasn't cutting it. So I went back, I revisited my blanket fort building skills. And I actually created
The grandma came out in you, huh?
I know. I put blankets over top of like a table and put a vaporizer underneath with just with just warm water running through it to create the steam.
Oh
And
my
had
gosh,
his kennel under there and everything. So we pulled him out of it, and I still get to see him every once in a while. I actually got to hand him to the couple that adopted him. I actually ended up keeping him a couple extra weeks because they had a family thing going on and they couldn't get him right at 8 weeks. So I got to meet them and hand them to him. And so I get to puppy sit every once in a while when they go out of town.
Oh, that's amazing. And how long ago was all of that?
I believe it must be about 3 years.
Okay.
Now. Yeah, I'm about 3 years. So that was my first litter. So, and then my second to last litter previous to this one, we ended up keeping one of them. My husband and I both got attached to one of them. So we ended up adopting one ourselves. And then the last litter before this one that I have right now, we didn't have a mommy. I just had the 7 puppies.
Oh,
So
wow.
now they're the same thing. They got posted on Facebook. The shelter posted them on Facebook, and I messaged the manager, or I commented, oh, they look like they need to be in a foster home. And so I got a phone call. And Lisa was like, if you're interested, she goes, we can certainly take you up on it because there's no mommy. So yeah, I had that litter was a little bit more work than the rest of them because there was no mom to help clean up after them, like mom dogs do. And so they got a bath almost daily.
Wow.
Because puppies are messy.
Yeah.
So they got a bath. Yep, they got a bath almost daily, and then out of most
all of that
litters,
honestly is like being a mom. The financial maybe is not there, but like the stress and the work that it all goes into it.
Totally. Yep. Even just like yesterday with the one that I have now, had a showing last night that ended up going longer than expected. We added a house on, you know how that goes.
Yep.
And so I have I have a camera in the room where I have them so that I can log on with an app just to keep an eye on them. Because I had a litter where I got really nervous when there were times that I had to be away from the house longer than expected. Just want to be able to keep an eye on them. So I just quick pulled up the camera to make sure she was okay. Everything was going okay. And mom was in the pen pacing back and forth and kept looking up, like trying to figure out how she could get over the fence. So I just quick texted my husband and said, I think mom has to go potty. She's pacing.
Oh,
So he went up and got her, and she did. He goes, it's a good thing I went and got her. You'd had a mess to clean up when you got home. So it's exactly like having kids in the house to keep an eye on.
I'm sure. But it's what?
It's so fun.
I'm sure. So tell me, how have you incorporated that with your business? And I thought that was really interesting because I think it's really important to brand you as an individual agent and not always about your company. So I thought it was interesting that when I was checking out your social media that you have the puppies on your Facebook page, on your realtor business page.
Yep. Yeah. I always, like I said, I typically do a weekly adoptable spotlight. And I boost those so they're seen beyond my followers and friends. And at one point it got to the point where I would run into people that I hadn't known before, and they're like, oh, you're the realtor that does the adoptable videos. We love watching those. So I just that's kind of been part of my brand. Anybody that knows me or follows me or goes on like you did and look at things, you can tell that I'm an animal lover, and dogs are kind of have my heart. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I love how you're able to brand. I think it's really important that agents, like I said, brand themselves. And I would imagine that that has helped your career as a realtor significantly because you're now known as, the adoption spotlight realtor, and it's something that you love too. You're not going out of your way because it's a hassle. Like you do it because you love it. And it just kind of happened to fall into your arms.
Yep. Yeah, I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy having the relationship with the people that run the shelters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that they more than appreciate you too. I used to go there in Norfolk and walk a lot of dogs when I worked there in Norfolk for a long time. So, it's a great facility. They take very good care of the animals there.
They
Um,
do.
and yeah, I mean, it's sad how many animals out there need a home. And so even just the foster home, like if somebody is willing to take them on as a foster pets, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Where it helps with the puppies is it helps them to be more socialized.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. And just lower their stress too.
yep.
Kind of so you're not only lowering the puppy stress, you're lowering the stress for your clients too.
Exactly. Yep.
Have you ever brought
Yep.
a puppy?
Yeah.
Have you ever brought a puppy to a showing?
No, I haven't.
No.
There's an
Oh.
idea. There's an
Yeah.
idea. So
I would like as long as the weather permits and they're not too young, I think that people would love that. People love dogs unless they're allergic. So
yeah.
make sure they're not allergic before you bring
Yeah.
them.
Make sure. Right.
That might ruin the
That would be
relationship,
awful.
but
That would
um
go the opposite direction, I
yeah,
think. So
yeah, for sure. But no, I think bringing them along with you and just kind of highlight enhancing your reputation already would be even more fun. I think
yeah,
people would
that
look
would be.
forward to meeting with Shalle and the puppy.
Yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
would
So
be.
what piece of advice can you provide for other mompreneurs or grandmapreneurs to grow and create abundance in the industry?
Oh goodness. Um, I mean, really a big thing is to be willing to take that leap. You know,
Mhm.
if it's something that you really are interested and really want to do, be willing to take it and try it. You can always pivot
Yeah.
and go to something different, but be willing to take that leap. And then just I think it's important as women, as female, to support each other and build each
Yes.
other up. So that's why I love like what you're doing here and with your group that meets every other week. It's just so important. We're always are focused on making sure that we're not somebody's not doing something better than we are,
Hmm.
or just we need to learn to build build each other up
Hmm. Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
being competition.
That's right. And
So,
I 100% agree with that because we're not here to tear each other down. We already have enough going on in our own lives and our own families that we don't need other people to try and tear us down. And I really wish the industry or just the world in general wasn't so that way, but it doesn't have to be. And it's not always. Like there's a lot of badass women out there who want to see other agents and other women succeed. Like I love seeing other mompreneurs, whether, I mean, I love seeing everybody just thrive and not only in their industry and in their business, but in their life too, like in their personal life. Because and you're not going to it's not going to always be an uphill success. It's not. I told you about what I'm dealing with today.
yep.
We got our valleys, we got our
Yep.
holes and everything. So
Yep. the
it's not always easy, but if you have that support system who you can lean on, fortunately, one of the mompreneurs who attends my events is my insurance agent. So she's able, it's a lot easier because I have that relationship and we are going to be able to work through it much easier than probably most other people. So it's just business owners, mompreneurs supporting other mompreneurs.
Right, absolutely. And I've always tried to keep my circle, that you talked about, people that you can reach out to. So when you have a question, or you just need to, I can't tell you how many times I've called a friend and said, I just need to bounce this off of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or I have this problem, I need a creative fix,
Yeah.
and not even necessarily a real estate problem. This was even before I started doing real estate.
Yeah.
Um, or even now, that friend that's really important is the one that you can call. I just need to vent and say something out loud so I don't say it out loud in front of the wrong person.
Yeah. And they don't even
you
need to
need
give you
that friend.
advice. They are just
Nope.
just somebody to
Yep.
bounce words off of.
Exactly. I just need you to let me say it out loud and then I'll be done with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's what women need. Like, we don't need people to fix every single thing. And I think that's where men are from Mars and women are from Venus, whatever it is. But women
Yep.
don't always need the problem fixed. We just need somebody to hear us and support us, where the men are like, well, have you did this or this or this? I'm like, just listen to me.
Yep.
Like, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But
I don't
it's a
need you
whole,
to mansplain it. Yeah.
what's that?
I don't need you to mansplain it. I just need you to
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, I've always just been the person that people can call and vent to. Like, I'm not going to be able to solve the problem. I can help give you ideas if that's what you want, but I'm just here to be like a sound barrier for you to spill out the stuff that you're stressing with. So,
Right.
but no, this was an absolutely amazing conversation, Shalle. I truly appreciate you being here with us today, being true to yourself, and then also helping puppies, and then taking your career and your business to another level. And I'm really excited to see what you all do with that. And if you start bringing puppies with you, be sure you send me photos and videos and upload them to your social media, because everybody loves puppies. And if you don't, well, I mean, then maybe they're just not the clients for you. So,
Right.
but yeah, you'll need to make sure that you do that. So is there anything else that I can help answer with you today?
Oh gosh, no. I think, like I said, I think this is a great thing. I love what you started. I was excited to get your email asking if I would be interested in doing an episode. So, and I love the group that you're talking about. So I've kind of watched you in your real estate journey too, with through your social media and everything. And I've enjoyed watching you grow.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, yep, I appreciate you being here, and thank you everybody for listening. You can join Shalle on her Facebook page. What is your Facebook page?
The business one is just Shalle Wolff Realtor.
Realtor.
The
Okay.
Facebook.com Shalle Wolff Realtor, but that Shalle, is spelled awful weird.
Yes, I
So
found that out.
yeah, so it's Shalle and then Wolf with two E's or two F's.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you being here today, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shae J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.